welcome.
Welcome.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Yes,
You're all in for a treat.
episode 1.
Yep,
We are here.
the one and only.
The Kyle
Well, I
podcast.
guess I hope not, but yeah, the nameless working title podcast.
Yes, yeah. So the ironic thing is when this comes out, we will have a name.
There will be a name, yeah.
But right now, it is the Nameless Podcast.
That's okay.
That's all right. We're
Kyle's
okay.
basement.
Yeah.
That's
Really,
what we'll call it.
Just like everything. Just about mine. Yours, like I said, yours is nice. Yours is good. I like the little
should
everything behind you.
Here.
See? Oh, there you go. Mine's dungeony.
It's all right. It's a nice neutral backdrop for the most part.
I know. It's probably cowboy. Like I'm waiting for like a spider just to like descend upon me, and just as we're going through, which will mean that I'll probably like break my speaker or my microphone and chuck things.
That'll make for an interesting first podcast for sure.
Well, I did tell you about that. One time when I was I was on a motorcycle, had a helmet on, and a spider like came down my visor.
That explains the crash. Yeah, I thought it was the old lady's fault, but
that was a way to make everybody feel better about the fact I didn't want to have to tell people that I crashed my own motorcycle from a spider. No, that was the most terrifying thing, and that would have
freaked me out.
I was on the interstate, and then I literally like death gripped it and was like, and I like pulled over on the side and I like chucked my helmet as far as I could because it was crawling like right towards my eye, and so it literally took everything not to just be like, you know what, forget it. Just I'm gonna kill this spider.
Just opened your visor.
I was worried that it was gonna like fly into my mouth or something.
Yeah.
just like that it would just like go right straight to my face or up my nose or something. So anyway, wow, that was a fun diversion.
Yeah. But we digress.
But yes,
I stroll down the rabbit hole just in case.
Yes,
we'll edit one or the other depending on the outcome.
Yes, we'll just cut it out. The working title.
Yeah,
say
working title.
That's where we're heading. Anyway,
so we could just talk about the inception of this, where it all came from, where it all started.
Yes, give you good listeners the background of why you're listening to the two of us.
Well, that remains to be seen, but
that's true. That's true. The good people, and by that,
but why we're recording ourselves talking? How about that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So take it away. You were the author of this.
Well, I mean, it started as a joke, I guess, for me. We were just talking about this, but
as most lifelong pursuits do.
Yeah. Well, I would say the podcast itself, as a podcast, is probably really stemmed from Caitlin and I going to, I don't even know where we were headed, Arizona. And we were headed to the airport. We were there early in the morning. We were somewhat slap happy, but Caitlin and I, when we're at the airport without children, mind you, which was the nice part.
Always the best way to travel.
Yeah. And so we like to people watch and observe, and we like to create fun names for people and backstories and based on their, attire and that sort of thing. So we were kind of doing stuff like that and just riffing off each other and having a grand old time while we were standing in security, the line for security. And we get all the way through and we're getting ready to put our shoes on. And the guy that was in front of us the whole time turns around and he was like, "You two need to start a podcast because you are hilarious. Like, you guys were cracking me up the entire time." And I'm just like, "Thanks, man. It's like one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me." And I didn't really think, like, it just kind of like struck me, like, I don't know why I really appreciated him saying that. And So then that kind of stuck with me a little bit, and that's when I guess, let's say, the idea was born, but it didn't really go anywhere from there. It was just like, I don't know, maybe I would start a podcast in the future. But
Mm.
then that was about it. It just kind of put that little seed.
Yeah.
And then at work, I do a lot of Microsoft Teams meetings, and my section that I cover in the morning tends to be a little bit more in depth than other people. So it started this joke between myself and my colleagues about this welcome back to the podcast, but I digress type of deal. And that's how it all kind of started. And so I joked
Mm.
that I'm going to start a podcast called But I Digress. And then it just stayed as a pipe dream, I think, for a little while. I was buying equipment and things, camera and mic, but in my head I'm like, yeah, it's just to upgrade my Microsoft Teams game, and in reality I think it was kind of like that. Okay, well, if I buy the equipment, then maybe it'll be easier to
Hmm.
start a podcast if I so choose.
One
But
step closer.
I don't I don't know if I was ever going to do it, because it was like, well, if I don't try, then I can't fail. And
Mm. Yeah.
then that's when you got involved, and we talked about, like, I think I just made the joke or talked about it, and you were like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, basically just picked up this tiny little seed of a dream, and then we're like,
Yeah.
okay, yep, this is happening. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, yep, we're gonna start a podcast. This is real now. All right.
Yeah, I
So here we are.
remember. I remember you were just like talking about like, oh, this would be so much fun to do a podcast, and we were using Marco Polo, which is
Mhm.
obviously our main mode of communication.
Talking to a
Um,
camera.
talking to a camera,
In case
talking to
anyone is
yourself.
wondering, yes, I am drinking out of a 1999 Welch's jelly jar with Bulbasaur on it.
Yes, that's the only way to have a fine whiskey.
It's fitting for the room that I'm in,
That's true. It actually fits beautifully.
my
Which,
retro room.
yeah, which, yeah, we're gonna have to have like a whole one just on your room before it goes away.
Yeah, before I sell it all.
Yeah,
Sell it
we'll
all.
have to. But
Anyway,
anyways, so
stroll down the rabbit hole. Slash, but I digress.
so
Slash, but we digress.
gosh, too many slashes. So yeah, so I mean, really kind of in my mind, I think developed because we were using Marco Polo so much.
Yeah.
And we pretty much were just talking to ourselves on the screen with no interaction or back and forth. And we both would go for so long of just talking in
Yes.
general. And I was like, my gosh, like we could do that. And then I texted my wife Haley and I was like, hey, what do you think about me doing a podcast with Kyle? You think that would be fun? And it's just like you literally pretty much do a podcast together every single
That's
day.
what you do. Yeah.
you you
Maybe
just
that's
don't
what we
record
should
it
have
for
done. Yeah. We should have just like found a
recorded
way
our
to,
Marco Polos.
yeah, to rip our Marco Polos and then just splice them together like
Yeah.
our conversations.
That wouldn't be difficult at all.
No, of course not.
But in
It'd be
reality,
a
that
lot
would
of
be
what the heck is this guy doing in traffic?
yeah, exactly.
Be a lot of
Your
that.
yours is half like it's like
Road rage.
it's half road rage, half like I don't know how many times
Ooh,
you were
shiny
like, look at
object.
these look look at these beautiful flowers. You talked about
It only
Texas
happened like
flowers
twice, 2 or 3
like
times. Okay,
3 or 4
maybe
times.
4.
It's just like Kyle's just driving around.
It's just my
These
commute to
idiots.
work.
Look at these beautiful flowers. They're so pretty. It's like, this is why I love Texas. See, it's going down the road.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I digress. So yeah, so the Marco Polo really is where I think it like set us up really well. And I think it's just so funny because of Marco Polo, we talk more than we ever did when you lived here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and so like it's just so
At
great.
least on
Other
a more
than
regular basis.
yeah, other than the time where we lived together, but other than that, like it would just be like, oh, like I'll see you when I see you. But we didn't actually see each other that often, so we would just go like months without saying anything, and then Marco Polo happened, and it was like, hey, what are you doing? Like,
Yep.
what's happening in your day
all the time.
Yeah, and it's so funny. And then we're like,
And
well,
here
why
we
don't we
are.
just record it
Yep.
and give it to the good people so they
Yeah.
can most likely
Give the
be
people what
like
they want, you know?
be like
This and all of its glory.
it's just two guys rambling on.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's
Well,
gonna
I mean,
be.
what else is a podcast, you know? Sometimes it's one guy rambling on. Sometimes it's a
True.
girl, two girls. Sometimes it's
That's
like
true.
8 people rambling on. It's all it is.
That's true. It is a fact. I feel
Yep.
like you're pushing it with 8. But yes. Yeah, so I mean, it's been an interesting transition from where we were. And I'm like a organizer in my mind. So as soon as like I was like, we're doing this, I'm like researching like
Just in
everything.
your
I'm like,
mind, not in reality.
yes. Not in reality, just in my mind. And I was like, I like am looking for stuff. You already had half your equipment, so I had to like look and find equipment. And as you can
Half.
tell,
I think it only
or
takes a
yeah,
microphone and a
that's
camera.
true. That's true. You already had headphones, and you had you were getting your arm. That's what you were getting.
Yeah, the
Like
boom arm.
once we talked about it. But like as you can tell, mine, Kyle has a better version than my microphone. There's no disco.
I think they sound the same.
I can't
Yeah,
strobe.
Yeah, it's got some glowy lights in it, but
which is I think fitting.
yeah,
Healthy
shut them off and then
distraction.
you can't hear me.
Boop. See, that's fancy. If I just do that, it's just going to distort everything. But I think that was a big part. I was like, ooh, this is super cool. And there's so much to podcasting that like is so interesting that you like have so many different platforms with being able to do a podcast, being able to do a straight podcast. And it's just really cool to be able to do that without having tons of equipment. Like it's not that hard to get, especially for us, because we're not videoing us together in a room. And so again, I think it's a fun part to be able to have with us being apart, able to collab.
Well, and it all started on the Pop and Patio, really. You know, that's where
true.
it's truly the
it's the origin.
Yep. The origin.
the
origin story. Our origin story.
The origin story. That was supposed to come out the origin, but it also was going for
the other way better.
The original. And so when you put those together, the origin.
Yeah, the origin. Yeah, the origin story is the Pop and Patio when we lived together in your sister's house. And
goodness.
Thanks, Jessica, by the way, if you're listening to this. You're a saint.
Free rent for like 4 months.
You're a saint because I would have wound up dead in a ditch somewhere, probably.
For sure.
At that state of my life.
For sure.
And now look at me, sitting in a room surrounded by Mortal Kombat memorabilia.
She's going to be like, what's
living
changed?
the high life.
What's changed? Nothing's changed. You are surrounded by video games in my house.
Tube TV surrounded. Behind me. Yeah.
Literally. That was like our
Xbox
life.
Games, original Xbox games, by the way, sitting on top.
Well done.
Yeah.
I know. Well,
and drinking out of a jelly jar.
She's literally going to watch this and be like, nothing has changed in your life. You are still the same person.
Hey, but you're still in a basement, okay?
The only thing is we own these now. That's the only difference.
Correct. Well, and I was in the basement on a sleeping on a pull-out couch, and you were upstairs. So
yeah. So that was a low point in our lives because
call it a high point, perspective.
we were
definitely a low point.
We were
the lowest point of my life.
Homeless, other than by the grace of my sister. We actually did have jobs. We were not unemployed.
No, I didn't. I had the National Guard.
And then
1 weekend a month,
which is technically
I got like
a job.
I got like $350 a month from that, and that's what I lived off of.
That's good money. That's a good.
You had to buy cigarettes and video games.
Yes. I did say it was for a good reason. And then I was at Culver's, obviously a wonderful establishment.
technically scheduled for 2 days a week, but you call in sick 1 day a week.
Oh gosh, why?
Sometimes 2 days a week.
Sometimes 2 days a week, and
Yeah.
then we would have no
Man,
money.
my sickness is just getting me both days today. Oh,
It was, oh gosh,
uh-huh.
how we have become productive members of society, I do not know.
Yeah.
Actually,
By
I
the
do
grace
know.
of God.
Yes,
The
by the
grace of
grace of
God
God
and our wives.
and the women that He
Yeah,
sent
that
to
loved
just.
us at our worst.
That's true. So during
That's
that
how I
time,
knew
so
she was the one.
let's see, how long were we there? It was like all
3
through the
months.
summer, right?
Yeah.
Three
It was
months.
right when
Okay.
right when I got back from AT, from the military.
Yes.
I had a job before I left, and then I left for 3 weeks, and then I came back. It's like, you know what? My job is super relaxed. Like, I was just kind of like a warehouse maid for a construction company, basically, just making sure the warehouse was clean, and a shop boy.
Mate.
But I mean, I actually asked if I could, have the title of like warehouse manager, and they were like, "Yeah, totally. We don't care." It's a super small operation, like 3, 4 people. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I got back and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a little break. I think I've earned it, right? 3 weeks in the woods. I've earned a week off or something like that. Just relaxing. And that week off turned into 3 months of no job and not wanting to live at home because that required, that was rules. There was rules I had to have living with my
Yes.
parents. It was what, 18, 19 at the time?
Yeah.
19,
19. Yep.
something
19.
like that. And yeah, then wound up at your sister's place. She didn't care what we did, so that
Not
was
at
it.
all.
Winner, winner. I'll
It
sleep on a
was.
pull-out couch
It was.
in a basement.
I think in the beginning we were like, "Oh, hey, you can come over and hang out," and then we were just like, "Why don't you just hang out again
Skyrim.
and
Skyrim
again?"
is what did it.
Yes, that's true. We
Yep.
played that game for like 3 days straight,
Yep.
and then
Nonstop.
I'm
We were
pretty
like, why
sure I
don't
was
we
like,
just never stop doing this?
exactly. I was
Two
just like, you know
TVs
what?
set up in the living room playing Skyrim forever. It was like,
You had
you
a
want to just do this forever?
TV on the
Sounds
floor.
good.
We had blackout drapes.
Uh-huh.
We would like step outside to have a cigarette, and we'd look like vampires going out. And like, just
It's daytime already.
like,
Yep.
oh gosh, that was. I mean, my sister would come home from working for like 10.5 hours,
Yep.
and we would still be
How
in
did
the
she
exact
not
same
murder
spot.
us?
I don't know.
If I were her, I would
Literally.
have burned down the house with us inside of it, I think, and just
Exactly.
collected insurance.
I know. She
Call
would
it
have
a day.
she would have got great money and got
Yeah.
rid of two problems.
Yeah.
It would have just been like all in one. Best thing she could
Yeah.
have done. But instead, she just loved us.
Yeah.
Didn't deserve it.
Well,
We
she
didn't
loved
deserve
you.
it at all. That's true. She dealt with you.
Yeah. She put
Even
up
though I
with me
think at
because,
different times she probably liked you better than me. So there was times I was just,
yeah,
oh gosh, thank God
for God,
that yes,
for Jesus.
thank
Thank
God
God for Jesus.
for saving us from ourselves
Yes.
because we were just awful. But so yeah, so let's see, you got back from AT.
Hmm.
When would
Well,
that been?
we just
June?
spent the whole summer playing video games and sitting on Pop and Patio. That's how this all started. Sitting on
Yeah,
Pop and Patio, what we dubbed Pop and Patio. It was
yeah,
literally just her back patio,
backyard.
smoking cigarettes, reading books. We'd wake up at
Yes.
like noon, and
Yep.
then I
Started
would
all over
wake
again.
up and read Aragon. I was reading through the Aragon series at the time, or
Hmm.
rereading through it, I guess. And yeah, smoking a lot of cigarettes and other things that we shouldn't have been.
Yep.
Um, and
Unfortunately,
led to some conversations, man.
we
Some
did. We had some
digression.
long digressions on that
Talk
back
about
patio.
strolls down the rabbit hole,
Yes,
because
that
that's
was
exactly what Pop and Patio
that.
was.
That was just. It was chaos. Like
Yeah.
we had no structure to our lives, so it was
No.
just tangents galore. And we did that for about a month, and then what was it, 4th of July, that we went downtown to see
Yep.
the fireworks,
And met the
and then
ladies.
yep, ran
We
into
kind of knew them anyway, but met the ladies.
yep, ran into our wives, and we are like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "You want to hang out?" And we're
I
like,
mean, they
"Yeah,
weren't
sure."
our wives at the time. We should establish that.
What?
I said they weren't our wives at the
Oh
time. We
yeah,
should
yeah.
probably
They weren't
establish.
our.
We ran
They
into
were
our
just.
wives, back
Yeah,
then.
they weren't our
Hey, I
wives.
haven't seen you in 3 months because I've been living in Kay Price's sister's house.
Which I really like. If
Yeah.
that happened, Haley'd be like, "Yeah, that probably could happen.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that could have been a thing." But no, they were not our wives. They were together because they're actually cousins, and they were just hanging out. And we're like, "Hey, you want to come to a party?" And
And then
then
we were two dense black holes and just sucked them into our garbage.
sucked them into
our garbage
our
pit.
vortex.
Because then we hung out for the next month, every single day for the next month.
Literally every single day.
Yeah.
And they have
Not an
jobs.
exaggeration.
They actually had jobs. And I think they felt sorry for us, or they're like, "Oh,
Something
we
like
could fix
that.
them up."
We were just
And
super hot.
we were
I mean,
just,
one of those, yeah.
very attractive.
Yeah.
Actually, Haley literally told me earlier today that she was like, I'm just so glad you aged much better than what you were before. She's like, when I met you, not so great, but you have just blossomed. And I'm
Well,
like,
then why'd
"Oh,
you
thank you."
stay?
I know. I
If
was
you
like,
didn't think I wasn't that, if you didn't think I was that good looking, and I had nothing going for me at the time, that's for sure.
she was like, "You were a diamond in the rough. I know with some good buffing, you could be something good." Which, ironically, they did like that work quick.
Yeah,
because it was like a month, and they were like,
well, our run only
"Get
lasted about
jobs."
3 months. Yeah,
They like started going through, and we did it.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I mean, PacSun and American Eagle, but
you gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah. Exactly. We had to go to the mall.
I proposed to Caitlin while still working at PacSun. Was I? I'm trying.
Did
to
you
think.
work there that long?
I mean, I don't know, 9 months.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I know. I'm trying to think of
maybe
timeline,
longer. It might have been like a year.
I think you were close to. Yeah, you had to have been close to a year.
Yeah.
Because then, because then you guys got married. Yeah. So yeah. So all of this comes from the fact that we've been just digressing and conversing for ever.
A decade.
Yeah, whole decade.
Yeah.
Of all the tangents that could
now
be.
it's like 12 years. That was 2011.
True. Oh, yeah, true. Gosh, we're old.
Yep. The fact that I can recall a story and refer to it as like, oh, yeah, it was a decade ago. And now it's getting to the point where it's like multiple decades.
Yep.
I can say decades, and it's, I was 10, but still.
Still, it is. It's weird. I was talking to a guy. I had a client, and I looked at it and found out that he was 39. And I looked at him. I'm like, "You're just 39? You look like in my head." I wasn't saying this to him. I was like, "You look like you're 50. I'm like, "Is that what I'm going to look like? Is this where I'm going? Is this I can't believe I'm that close to being that old looking." I'm like, I don't feel that old.
That's eternity.
I feel in reality, I'm in the best shape of my life. Much better than when I was in my 20s.
One of us can say that.
Actually,
I'm in the best health of my life. I can tell you that.
That's
I'm
good.
far healthier than I ever was in my 20s.
Oh, for sure.
Because I survived off of processed sugar, caffeine, and nicotine. And hate.
Oh gosh,
that was about it.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm referring to. Exercise. Ironically, I have to do that because my back hurts so bad, but which kind of makes it feel old. But it's got me in other good shape. Yeah. But really, it's the food. I eat so much better than what I did, which just makes you feel so much better. Yeah. if I tried to do what we used to do, where we would like drink heavy and eat garbage, I would probably just die. I just
And
curl
I
up
would do
into a
that
ball and die.
on the daily.
Oh, ugh.
Not to mention mixed with, nights of copious amounts of alcohol and, just staying up late. And it's like the thought of that makes me want to kill myself.
I know. It's
Yeah.
literally like that. That sounds like death. Sweet,
Yes.
sweet death. And
Yeah.
that's the
Well,
part.
and we might as well set the tone right off the bat. First episode, raw, real,
Mhm.
uncut, and everything. And it's like, I'm sure some family members will probably hear some stories that they haven't heard before, but
Probably.
if they're listening. But yeah, like I remember a time when I was going to college, the brief stint that I was there, and I use going to college very loosely. Just kind of
You were
lived
at
nearby.
college.
Yeah, yeah, lived
you were
nearby,
you
and I
lived in
would
the
happen to
dorm.
stumble into a classroom that I happened to be on the roster of from time to time if I wasn't too
Yeah.
busy skipping it to finish Price is Right.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, which is true. I used to skip class so I could finish an episode of Price is Right. Um, but I remember going to, we'll just say Jordan, Jordan's house out in the boonies, and his parents were out of town for like a week, and it was like a week long party. And at the end of the week, that weekend, I had drill with the military, and he lived about 45 minutes from where I lived at the time. And I remember Friday night ending the week of partying and drinking like all night, and then staying up pulling an all-nighter, and then literally sobering up, and then driving home at like 4 in the morning, and then getting home and having just enough time to look at my bed longingly for about 5 minutes and cry, and then put on my uniform and go to drill for the weekend. And it's like the thought of that, I would kill myself if I had to face that. Like, nope, I'm out, checking out, don't need to
Just
go
would
through
rather
that.
not.
Like, it just sounds so terrible. It's
Like,
like, I
and
don't know. I don't
you were.
understand how I did it.
I don't
Red
either.
Bull.
I don't understand how you did it when we were in it. Like the way you would function of like no sleep,
Mm-hmm.
keep going, all of that. Like I would just like even when we were young, I was like, why? Why
I
are
have
you
I
doing
have a
this?
picture of a pyramid of Red Bull cans in my apartment,
Well, that's
because
why.
it was Red Bull and nicotine.
Yep.
Like literally,
And
that is what it kept
that
me
was
going
your fuel
all the
just
time. Yeah,
flowing through your veins. That's
yeah,
the only two things. No longer blood.
yeah.
Because yeah, I remember us one St. Patty's Day doing like 2
Oh
extra
yeah.
days on that. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
just
You
I
were in the
was in a
same
St.
clothes
Patty's Day clothes for like 2 extra
for
days.
2 extra
Just
days.
I
Oh
think no, we
man,
went to a
Chinese
Chinese
buffet.
buffet.
Yep,
It's
yep.
2 days later after St. Patty's Day, and I'm in full St. Patty's Day,
Yes.
like with a hat and everything. You know? And that's because we would just keep pushing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep.
and I
I
remember
remember
walking
that like
in
it was
there,
yesterday.
and
It's
I
like
was
you,
like,
me, and
I'm
Harms
so hungry,
and
but I'm
Armando.
also scared that I might vomit everywhere. like, I'm like, what is happening? And
Yeah.
also, like, it's bad when you're in a Chinese restaurant and everybody's looking at you and being like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Why is he
Like,
still in green?
what's happening?
In
Yeah,
all
like,
green, head to toe. Oh man.
but yeah, like if thinking just about that, like I'll have
I
like
I
where
think I'm 90% sure that's the one that Drew and I started. I spent the night at Drew's place, and he lived with his dad at the time, and his dad worked third shift as a cop, and he got off work and woke us up at like 6 in the morning to screwdrivers. And so we drank screwdrivers and we watched Jason X. Like, I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but that's how we
I
started our St. Patty's
yep,
Day. And then
that
we were
was the
drunk in
same
the
time.
morning.
Mm-hmm.
We were drunk in the morning because I was having a party at the apartment. And disclosure, we don't condone any of this.
No,
We're not proud of
absolutely
it.
not.
We're
This
not
is
proud of our past,
this
but
is a horrible,
we are
horrible part of our
we
life.
are it's part of us, unfortunately,
Yeah,
decisions that we made in the past that have
it
made
is.
us who we are, and we're going to talk about it openly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
and
Good, bad, and the
yeah,
ugly.
yeah. And I
This
was
is the
having a
bad,
party
the
that
ugly
night,
part.
and so Drew's girlfriend drove us from his place to my place, and then I sobered up a little bit. I was like hungover and at 11 a.m.
Gosh.
And then
Oh.
people started trickling in, and I'm pretty sure, mom and dad, if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure that's the day that my parents showed up to, because it was their car. I think I had their car at the time. I think like my vehicles were broken or something like that. And they found out that I was having a party somehow. And so they like came to the apartment complex and they're like, yeah, you're having a party, aren't you? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
I
And so
remember
they're
that.
like, we're going to, yeah, they took their car, I think. Um, and then, yeah, we had that St. Patty's Day party. And then for the next 2 days, you were there in green, hanging out still. We laugh
Oh
about it, but again,
gosh.
it's, it's embarrassing but laughable at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like, there's nothing to do. Like, absolutely, like, there's nothing to do but to laugh at the
yeah,
fact that we were that
and learn,
stupid in life.
obviously, and learn, and
Yes.
know that our four collective sons will
Oh gosh. I don't
probably
even
get
want
a
to think about it.
shenanigans of their own that will have to, put up
The
some
fact
numbers.
that we're alive is
Yeah,
amazing to me.
100%.
It's like I don't know how we've made it this far, which terrifies me for my sons.
Yeah.
Of like that, what dumb things they will get into.
Well, and for me, it's absolutely my parents. You know what I mean? Like, had I not had the upbringing I did, who knows where I would have ended up? And I
Yeah,
certainly rebelled, but that's who I was and am, and who, I had to make my own mistakes and learn from all of that myself. But had it not been for my parents, I wouldn't. Well, God, obviously, but
yeah.
and then him working through Caitlin. But I mean, I don't know if I would have found my way back.
I
For
know,
sure.
I
The
know.
prodigal son returns.
Oh gosh, that's the thing that's amazing to me is that we like the the idiocy of what we were doing, and then like our parents being like, yes, you can come back, you idiots.
Yeah.
It's like because the whole thing with my sister and everything, like I did that, and then eventually my sister's like, you gotta go. And then I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, I moved back in with my parents when I got a job.
yep. And I ended up
Yep.
moving back with my dad, and
Yep.
it was just like, oh, what a life we
Yeah.
have lived. Like the fact that we're here is
Yeah,
just by the
I
grace
was
of God.
I've been living on borrowed time since I caught a squirrel with my bare hands in 4th grade, so
Which reminds me of our pop and patio experience where you shot a squirrel with a bow and arrow
I
in the
still have that video
backyard.
too.
Yes, that's see, like this
Yeah.
is the thing. Like we literally were a waste of space. We were garbage
Oh,
people.
for sure. That's how I describe myself to people that know me now as an adult, but not like back then. And anytime that part of my life comes up, like, oh, how did you
Yeah.
meet your wife? I'm like, oh, let me tell you, I was a giant waste of human life at the time. That's what I was.
Exactly. I know.
Worthless to everybody.
I'm telling you, it baffles my mind that both of them were like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one that
Well,
I
it didn't
want.
start out that way. I mean,
No,
in
that's true.
their defense,
That's
and
true.
it was me pursuing Caitlin and her not feeling mutual at first, and me continuing to pursue Caitlin,
War,
and then
we wore them
yeah,
down
or
with our
yep,
charm.
yeah, for sure.
That was because I mean,
Oh, and
like,
then one day I realized, like, man, this girl's really cool. I should probably get my life together. She's not going to be around much longer.
and then we did.
Yeah.
We literally like. I mean, we weren't like perfect people after that, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
we got jobs.
Yeah. First step on the journey. Here we
Yeah,
are.
to where we are now,
Yep.
where we are employed, own homes,
Yep.
have children,
2
like
kids each.
yeah, like it's we've come a long way, I will say.
Married going on 10 years for us. It'll be 10
That's
years this year.
nuts. That's insane.
hitting the old decade mark. I told Caitlin, I was
Yeah.
like, this is our year. The next time we're at a wedding reception, we get to make it to the
Yes.
next tier when everybody else falls off.
Nice.
It is so
Yes.
exciting.
Oh,
That's all that marriage is about, is that you just hang on long enough to make it to the next tier.
well, the worst part is
And
that you have like a
the marriage
gap
dance.
period because typically, like a lot of people are going to be married, and then you stop having friends that are getting married, and then
True,
you have
true
to
that, true that.
wait
Till
to
kids.
for kids, and then
And
you're just
by
like,
then, we're the old couple that's out there last.
yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
So I guess that's what you're looking for. I mean, I don't know how many friends you have that need to get married, but like
That's the
ours are
ultimate
done.
goal.
Like almost everyone is
Yeah.
married,
I
married
mean,
up.
everybody in Illinois is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for Drew. Drew's the only one.
Oh yeah, yeah. That will be
He's
that'll be
working
an
on it.
interesting one. Whenever that happens, that'll be an interesting marriage and wedding party.
Why? Why?
Not because of like the marriage, but like the like that's going to be I feel like an insane reception. I don't know why I couldn't like marriage party. Couldn't think of reception. I feel like that's going to
Marriage
be like
party's a
a
good one. I like that.
crazy
Yeah,
reception
for
because
sure.
I've become crazier as I've gotten older. Not in like I'm being wild, but like I just like dance. I don't give a crap about who's watching. I just do what I want, and I just like, and I feel like that's like the most fun part about the reception. It's like you don't get to like be able to go and dance and like have fun really anywhere else. Like, do you
Why not?
guys? What parties do you go to?
we get invites to. It's not like a party, like a house party. We're just out there cutting a
No,
rug.
I
But
mean like where you're dancing and like having fun and stuff
yeah,
like
I
that.
mean, we get invites to go to like dance halls and stuff, but it's just never
Dance
worked.
halls.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Texas. There's dance halls all
Oh,
over the
so you mean
place.
like square dancing?
There's one called, well, no, just dance halls in general. I mean, yeah, there is like dances like that. You know what I
Are you
mean?
talking about like the Texas clubs? It's like that's
They're literally just called dance halls. You know what I mean?
and what
Like
do
it's like
you?
a bar and
Yeah,
maybe a restaurant. I've never been, so I don't know. And people just they go and dance. People,
hmm,
cut a rug, bust a
there you
move.
go.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys need to go.
There's one that's like 10 minutes from us. That's literally called Mavericks.
Why haven't you gone?
I'm not much of a dancer, and have you seen my wife? Her dance moves consist of a shoulder shake, an eyebrow raise.
Hey, why not?
I mean,
That's
I
all
love
sorts
it.
of fun.
I love it. It is her signature move, and I will love it and cherish it till the day I die. But
The best part is that that's a move that can keep going into your 80s. You're like in your wheelchair.
oh, for sure, yeah, she can. Yeah,
She's
raising the
gonna keep that
eyebrows.
stuff up even in the nursing home. She's just be
Uh-huh.
rocking that one,
Oh
getting
yeah,
you excited
it's gonna be
for
great.
moves. But no, I love dancing. Like that's so much fun. I was talking about how who was I talking with? Oh, Haley's sister. I was like, you know what sucks that we don't have because we don't have dance halls, so we don't
Yeah,
have like any
everything you
way
have
to
to
like
go dance like clubs, and it's like
yes,
garbage.
and ugh, I don't want to go to
Floors are
that. Like
sticky and
and
people suck.
people are weird and gross, and so
Yeah.
no, not for me. But I was like, you know what? I told who was I talking to? I was talking about somebody who had a 12-year-old, and I was like, I'd love to be a chaperone, and I would be dancing. And all the middle schoolers would be like on the outside ring, and it would just be me being like, yeah, just getting it
And then
in the middle.
escorted off of school property.
They'd be like, hey, I'm a chaperone, okay? You can't
Yeah.
escort the chaperone. I'm escorting people out. Like this is my job. But I told Haley, I was like, we should do that, and then we should just dance,
Yeah,
and
just dance.
yeah,
That's it.
all the kids can be doing whatever
You
they
can buy
want to do.
video games that allow for that, right? On the Wii, Just Dance.
Oh
A whole
yeah.
line of them. Yeah.
You know
There you
what?
go. There's your solution.
Actually, I just need to do We Cheer again.
There you go. Yeah. That's where you learn all your dance moves.
which by the way, I do have that video. And I think maybe we'll do that. We'll like add a clip in for the viewers
Just like
to
pointing up here,
enjoy.
like, cue clip.
Yep. And then you'll just like pop up with your little Wii chair. You're just like,
Sad.
because
I kind of remember what you're talking about, like in the Creed's basement, but
yes.
never, never. I don't really remember it.
All right. Well, you're gonna remember it when I add
I
it
don't
in.
remember that there's a video about it or whatever.
Yep. It was me recording behind you as you were
Probably
doing
to
it.
Calabria 2008 or whatever.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm gonna add that in here, and everybody can just enjoy. Just you doing. We cheer.
All
Because
right.
it
Well, if we're
was
gonna play
so
that
good.
game, I'm gonna bust out my iPhone 4. Okay. Because yes, I still have it. And boy, is there some gold on it. Because that's the phone I had during that summer
Yes,
on Pop and Patio.
the blue and gold.
I have a lot of incriminating evidence on that
You
phone
really
for
do.
sure.
Mostly about yourself.
Well, there's some with you in it too.
I know, but it also includes you.
Like the videos of us shooting Nerf darts at cars, parked cars at like stoplights, and sticking Nerf darts to windows.
Oh, we were
Yeah.
just.
That was genius.
Oh,
I don't care what you say. Like, if nothing
it
else
was
good came out of that time of our life, that was genius.
that one thing.
Not for a
not
31
finding
year
our
old,
wives.
but for a 19-year-old, with no job and just driving around town. That was a
I
very,
believe.
very mild thing that we could have done. Activity for us.
Yeah. Much better than like lots of things, but
Yes, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that video, our wives are in the car.
Yes. Well, multiple. I've got multiple for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Why were we? Oh yeah, because I remember we did that to the Walgreens
Yep. We shot one
sign.
up for the Walgreens sign, and it stuck there for like a week.
Why were
Yep.
we who we are? Just why?
Because I wouldn't have it any other way.
I know, which is just hilarious because the way I see my boys, like even just right now, they are going to get into so much trouble. And
sure.
most of that is going to be coming from Wells because he's
Yep.
a little incarnate of me.
Yep.
And it's going to be bad. Like
it's probably going to be Atlas for us. He's a little tyrant.
It's a mini Kyle.
Yeah, in both cases.
It's legit. It's so he reminds me of you. Well, very
Atlas?
much so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. Just a little tyrant.
He just does whatever he wants to do. Yep. And I think that's the part. Like Wells drives me nuts, and I think God's just up in heaven being like,
"You're welcome." To your dad.
This is what you get.
Here's your payback.
Yep. My dad literally says all the time. He's like, "You got exactly what you deserve."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and Atlas is great. I mean, we had a daddy day, daddy Sunday today, and we went to go see Super Mario Bros. In the movie theater. It was his first experience in a movie theater.
Cool.
He loved it. Yeah,
of course,
went very well.
Who wouldn't?
Especially because we have leather recliner seats here, in Texas in our movie theaters.
Bougie.
So yeah. And got popcorn and all that, and then he has been saving money. So every time he feeds our dog, he gets a quarter. And
cool.
We've been doing that for quite a while. And so he's been earning money and saving it. We've got him a little Raphael, can't call it a piggy bank, a little Raphael bank to hold his money in.
Nice.
And so he hit right around $30. Yeah. But he hit right around $30.
Man, yep. He's investing. He needs to invest that money.
He's been doing it for a while. Since before we moved to this house.
Okay.
When did we start the quarter thing? Actually, it might have been right when we moved to this house. So just over a year.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he saved up about $30, and so then I said, "All right, well, if you're good, because we've been having troubles at daycare, and him listening, him being defiant, testing his boundaries, because that's all it is. He's a very, very sweet kid. He's very generous. He, will share, like if he's got candy or something, and I'm like, oh, can I have a piece? No problem. Super sweet, super generous. He loves his brother to death. and it's just he tests his boundaries. Like, I'm going to see how far I can go, and I'm
But
going to
yeah,
keep on going.
it's
And
like, till I hit
yeah,
a wall.
exactly. And so, and he's going to hit that wall like 20 times, seeing if he can break through it. But so, I said, if you're good at daycare for the next couple of days, I've got a surprise for you. So and he was, so took him out, and then went to Target afterwards, and I said, okay, you're gonna pick out your toy that you're gonna pay for with your money. And so he did, and he got a remote control monster truck that's actually pretty sweet. And
Sweet.
yeah, we wanted to teach him it's going to be different than the rest of his toys, because the rest of his toys were either given to him, from friends or family or whatever, or we paid for them. Somebody else paid for them. And so this one's going to be different in the sense that, like, we want to teach him ownership and, like, earning your, because I would say it's too early to try and teach him the concept of investing,
Yeah.
making your money, turning your money into more money,
Yeah.
or making your money earn you money type of deal. And so rather than trying to teach him that, we figured, this time around we'll teach him kind of ownership and utilize that.
Mhm.
And, hey, earning your money and using your money to acquire things or whatever. And so that toy's different. That toy, we haven't quite figured out exactly how we're going to do it, but we've talked about maybe like that's a toy we don't ground him from type of deal. Like, we don't take away, but that, I don't know. That seems
Okay. Could be
like
a
it could
little
cause
bit
a lot of
tricky.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You'd be like,
well,
hey, you're grounded. Well, fine. I'm going to go hang out and play with my toy.
yeah, with this awesome monster
Yeah,
remote control monster truck I got,
you're like,
and it's big.
shoot.
It's a pretty big one. Goes
Yeah.
pretty fast.
Mm.
So what we did today, because he did get in a little trouble tonight, is we kind of removed him from the situation in the sense of, like, timeout. Okay, like, you're getting frustrated and you can't play with this right now, so, like, you need to go up in your room until you can come down and act like a big boy and play with it, type of deal. So it
Mm.
wasn't necessarily us taking it away from him, it was more us, taking him away away from it. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a difference, but, at the
Well,
time it felt
yeah.
like there was.
You're not taking ownership of the toy, you're taking ownership
Yeah.
of the child.
Yeah.
So,
We're still your parents, and we still tell you what to do.
yeah.
So
So, well, yeah, I think that's a good thing. And I think it's cool to be able to help him see, like, work equals pay, which equals things that,
yeah,
I think are valuable.
yeah.
And being able to put that in there. And again, yeah, it's never too early to start those concepts.
Well, and that's why it's going to be very rudimentary at first, and that's how it was when we first started paying him. But I just know that I have a poor relationship with money,
Yeah.
and I don't want to set our children up on the same trajectory. And
Yeah.
so when he first started, because he always just wanted to help, and do things on his own, and I want to do this, that, and the other, and so he started feeding Diesel, or almost all by himself. I mean, the only things he needed help with is because he was just too weak, to pick this up or that up or whatever.
Mm.
Um, and so, but that was, he's 3, just over 3 now, and it was probably about a year and a half. So he's probably about a year and a half when
Wow.
he first started feeding Diesel.
Literally, so I was just about to say, Wells likes to feed Forrest, and he loves to go over there and get it. But he literally is shaking like he's 90 years old. And by the
Yeah,
time he gets there, there's like one left, and it falls in, and they're just scattered across the kitchen
everywhere.
floor. And I'm
Yeah,
like, no, Dad's gonna help you, and
yeah,
then you can pour it in. And
yeah,
so like he digs it out, and then we walk it across, and
yeah.
then
That's
he
kind of how
pours
we
it in.
started.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like it literally, he was like, I do. And then I was like,
Hmm.
okay, fine. And he literally picked it up. But it was like one of those things where he was like trying to be so, like, he was trying to hold it really hard,
Hmm.
but it was like kind of heavy. So he was like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." And then
Scattering
by the
everywhere.
time he got down, it was like, dink. And that was the one pebble. And then I was like,
Yep.
you gonna get the rest of it? He's like, no, I done.
I
Then
did it.
he would just
Yep.
put it
Game
away.
over.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, I was like, 1.5. I'm like, first of all, he must have had great Great
Well, that's the thing.
dexterity.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it all on his own. They were
Gotcha.
like lifting it up, but he would like push the lid off. We keep it,
Hmm.
in like a tin canister, and he'd push the
Yeah.
lid off and like attempt, and like he could like hold it like this to his chest, you know what I mean, and be okay with it for the most part. But
Yeah.
we'd have to help him like actually scoop a full scoop, and then we'd
Hmm.
have to help him put the lid back on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, so it started with that, and then he got to the point where he was able to do it on his own, and he loved doing. He still like he gets mad if we do it. If we feed Diesel, like
Yeah.
if he's sitting in the living room and he's available, and he hears the scoop and the me dumping it, he's like, "No, I wanted to feed him."
Yeah. Plus,
Which
you're
is
taking
because he's
his
kind of
money.
taking ownership. Well, I was gonna say he's kind of taking ownership of
Yeah.
that job as well, which is
Yeah.
could be
It's
good.
like, don't be trying to take my money.
Yeah, but so when he first started doing it on his own, then it kind of hit me. I'm like, well, I feel like there's an opportunity here. He doesn't
Definitely.
understand what money is, but he
Mm.
understands that he's getting something that is cool and shiny, and he doesn't have. And I'm like, oh, a quarter, and he loses his mind. So that's
Dude.
how it all started. And then we are like, well, we'll put it in this little baggie and save it for you. And then at a
Yeah.
thrift shop, I found the Ninja Turtles bank. So
You need to, because you're a collector, you need to do like one of those like quarter like state things and like let that be a part of it as well. Like you could do that in addition to, or if you wanted
mm,
to or whatever, but like have him like fill it out, because then it would be like an actual cool like each one's gonna be different.
yeah, that could be a cool thing to like incorporate learning the states and things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, he's already started to learn geography, and like he knows like
Mhm.
somewhat knows North. He knows that we live in North America. He's
Yeah.
obsessed with South. It's like saying South America. So
South
anytime we
America.
point, hey, what's this continent? South America. No. What's this one? South America. No.
He's like, I'm waiting for the best one. That's the best
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Like, get
but so
to it.
he knows that we live in North America, and he knows what the American flag looks like, and so he's like,
Mm.
every time we see one American flag, he
Yep.
freaks out.
Jude is the same. He's like
Yeah,
all about it. But that would be a great way.
yeah,
I had one of those and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I could never freaking get Alaska.
yeah,
Could not find it to save my life. Every other one.
yeah,
But
yeah. Maybe we could
there you go.
incorporate something like that,
Something
and
that
then
would make
along
it
with
even
money.
more specials.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's fun with trying to figure out creative ways for them to learn bigger concepts, I guess, but like just
Yeah.
learning at the beginning at their level what they're capable of understanding. um and I mean, he always shocks me as to what he's capable of understanding, what he remembers. It's
Yeah.
insane what
Mm-hmm.
he remembers. Like his memory he's got like a photographic memory. It is crazy. So there's a game called, well, I've told you about it, but a card game called Ascension.
Mm.
And
Oh yeah, yeah.
the back of the cards have the logo, a specific kind of design on it. And I played it one time with Hunter, and I played it twice with my dad. So three times total. And that was, my parents were in town, what, a month ago, maybe? And then Hunter was
Mm-hmm.
even before that. So
Yeah.
three times a month ago. And literally like 2 days ago, there's an app version, and I was playing it on my phone, and he kind of walked up and looked, and there's one spot on the whole thing that has that same logo, like the back of the cards, and saw it, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, said something about the game that I played with Hunter, and then pops and like brought up both like people that I'm like, how did you possibly make that connection? Like, I don't like, how did
That's
you remember that?
I'm telling
It
you,
just
the
blows my
kids are
mind at
smart.
3 years old.
Yeah, kids are
Yeah.
smart, which also is really bad news for you because like he's gonna remember all the bad stuff you do.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be like, Dad, actually, it was March 12th, where you said that, like, you can never say, hey, we'll do this on this day. Because they were like, actually, and like, I do recall you
Well, and
saying
that's
that
one
we
thing
would go.
I do try and stay true to everything that I say with him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I make
Mm,
sure, even if it's, like a lie of convenience where it's like, oh no, like that didn't happen,
yeah.
like something like that that would, I would say most people might do with their kid,
Oh,
just
I
for,
straight lie to my kids about what's
well,
in
I
the
was gonna
cabinet
say,
all the time.
yeah, just for
My,
convenience sake, sort
yep.
of thing. And
I'm just
so
like, I'm not
I'll
having the fight with you
I'll
today.
catch myself doing it like right off the bat, and then I'll be like, you know what, buddy? No, like, yo, yeah, you're right, or whatever.
Mm.
I'm not perfect about it, but I've been trying to. If I say something to him, or if I, like, oh, we'll do this, I try and be as good as I can about sticking
Yeah,
true to my
I
word.
think that's important. And typically, like, I like I'll pick my battles of like when I want to be like, no, actually, it is in there, and we can't have
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Versus like it's like right time for bed. I'm like,
yeah.
you're about to extend this for a half hour because we're going
Hmm.
to talk about the fact that you want this thing. I'm like, nah, it's not in there.
Sometimes I'll just
No,
be like, don't worry about it, because we'll have
don't
like
worry.
little
Mind your
sea,
business.
yeah, sea salt dark chocolate caramels, and he loves them. And
Oh, so he's like
I'll like
sees the
sneak in the
corner.
yeah, I'll sneak in the pantry, and I'll like go to grab one, and I'll start eating. What's in your mouth? Don't worry about it. Like, clearly, something's in my mouth, but I'm gonna be
You're
like,
like
no,
the
no, don't worry about it. You don't
you're
need to
like the
know.
commercial of Mr. Potato Head eating Lay's chips, like in the what is it, like the pantry, and all you hear is
Yep,
like a crunch, and he's just like in there. And
just
she's like,
hiding out. Yeah,
yeah,
there are
like,
times
what
that
are you doing?
I'll like stick my body like halfway into the pantry and everything, and I'll just like sit there and eat one without him knowing,
Isn't it
because I know the moment he
ridiculous?
sees it, I want one. I want one.
Isn't it
Just
ridiculous? Like,
I just one bite. He's like the worst, like the best worst negotiator.
yeah.
He's I just one bite, and I don't get any more. He'll say stuff like that all the
I
time.
just love it. It's like a little mini lawyer
Yeah.
that's just like trying
Yep.
to.
That doesn't take no for an answer.
Nope, never.
Yeah.
But it is. It's so funny all the things that we do to try to avoid the negative situations with
Hmm.
our children. You're just like sitting there sneaking around. It's your food that you
Yeah.
bought,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
acting like you're stealing it. Just
Uh-huh.
like, ah, nothing,
Nope,
nothing,
I'm not
nothing's
eating
happening.
anything. What are you talking about? No.
Exactly. That's the best part. Is like the same thing with like Jude. He will get so upset with me. Like if I'm doing something, he'll be like, "Dad, well, what are you gonna do?" Like especially nap time. He'll be like, "I'll be like,
Uh-huh.
all right, dude, it's time for you to go lay down
Yeah. What are you
and
gonna
rest."
do?
A lot of his is rest. He goes, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, Dad doesn't need to rest. I'm old. No, you probably do need to rest. I'm like, well, that's probably true, but like, I'm not going to rest right now. And he's
Yeah.
just like, he's like, well, if you're not resting, I don't have to rest. I'm big. I'm big, so I don't have to do that. And so literally, it becomes a half hour of explaining that you are
Hmm.
big, but you're not as
I
big
was gonna
as
say,
me.
yeah, there are times that I'm like, yeah, Daddy's probably gonna take a nap too, or Daddy would really like to take a nap, as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
because that's not a lie. I certainly would like to
No,
take a
I
nap.
sure would love a
Yeah,
nap,
yeah.
but can I? No, because I have to fix the
You
house
always
that
gotta
you
just say
destroyed.
probably, because that
Mm,
leaves that little opening for
I know,
not
but
taking a nap,
I remember when
which
I
is
was a kid,
100% gonna.
and I hated probably because it literally was the thing that parents said to just be like, "Please go away."
Yeah, I'm
It's,
not lying. I'm not lying, right? It
it
leaves it
was the
open
it was
for
the
whatever.
lie
Yeah, Daddy's
of
probably gonna take
convenience.
a nap.
Yeah, when that person was like, I know dang well that
Hmm.
you are not taking a nap, but you just told me probably, so I would leave.
Yeah.
And he can tell too. Oh gosh, it's the worst. I'm like, dude, we're wasting your nap time and all the things that I have to do while we wait
Yep.
for your brother to wake up. Like there's only so much time
And they're never
before
on the
he
same
wakes up.
schedule. They're never down
No,
at the same time.
no, which is just maddening.
Yep.
And it's like, oh gosh. And all I hear is Wells getting up from his nap and being like, Dad! Like
Huh?
he's on fire. I'm like, are you serious? What is happening? So like I'll be like in the middle of something, and then when he wakes up, he will like kind of like move around. I'm like, oh, maybe I can get this done. And then 5 seconds later, it's like, oh gosh, because he's screaming at the top of his lungs.
And
And then
then
I go and
loses
open the
it. Yep.
door, and he's just like, hi, Dad. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Sound like the exorcist was in
Yeah.
here, and he's just sitting there like, like tears rolling down his face, and just like, "Hey,
Just
Dad."
smiling. Yep.
Like, there's
That's all I
something wrong
wanted.
with you.
I didn't know
That's
how to get you in here except for this.
I know. I can't wait till
Yeah.
Maverick gets older and you can start experiencing the two of them just like colliding like over and
Oh
over
yeah.
again.
Yeah, we'll see how all that goes. It'll be
Yeah,
fun. But
it'll be a good time.
I do have to call it quits. We're right at that
No,
hour mark, and
perfect timing.
I have a circumcision to attend tomorrow. So
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. A circumcision?
yes, yes, I have a circumcision first thing in the morning. It's very important. This is not a joke.
What is happening? Who's getting circumcised?
My son is being
Oh
circumcised. Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
All right. There we go. Now we're
yes,
together
yeah.
here.
We're those crazy people that opted not to get the vitamin K shot at birth, and so
Oh, I
they were
just feel
like,
bad
"Well,
for your
then we're not
son.
gonna circumcise then." And
He's fully
then if you don't get
aware.
him circumcised, not fully aware, they're gonna put him under. Yeah,
Oh, I just feel bad
yeah.
because he's
They say
old.
they say at 10 months. Oh, don't feel bad because I was talking to the lady today,
Oh
and because
no.
we were told, or Caitlin was told that it was local anesthetic at first,
Hmm.
and then today, the day before, she was like, "Oh yeah, like he'll get put under and everything. It's general anesthesia." And then Kit was like, "Whoa, wait, like that's not what we were told." And obviously, we were kind of taken off guard. I guess you could say concerned, but we were just like, well, maybe we want to talk about like just at least have someone explain to us, okay, like here's the procedure because we don't know anything about general anesthesia. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've had it, Caitlin's had it, like I get it,
Yeah.
but especially with your 8 month old
Yeah.
at
It's
this point,
it's
yeah,
bigger
we
deal
were
when
just
they're
like,
really small and really old.
yeah. So that it just kind of caught us off guard. So then we were like, well, kind of, what are we gonna do or whatever. So, but then we decide, yeah, like we're gonna go ahead with it, and it's probably safe, and well, it is safe. I
Yeah.
think everything will
Babies
probably
get
be fine.
put under
Yeah,
all sorts of
exactly. They
different
they do this
times.
all the time. So while we were having this conversation with this lady, she was telling me, um, because I was like, well, can we do local anesthetic? She's like, no, like once they're bigger than 10 pounds, we do the general, because then they have like the ability to fight back. Basically. Like with
Punching people in the
infants,
face.
yeah, with infants you don't have to you know have to put them under. It's just local. And she's like, a lot of times with infants they're just so exhausted from being birthed that they just don't even wake up anyway.
Yeah.
um and so
Yeah, your
I
eight
mean, I
month old
remember
is keenly aware of what's happening and is
yeah,
going to
they
start
told,
kicking and punching.
yeah, so they were like, she's like, yeah, any child over 10 pounds is, we do general anesthesia.
Did you have
And
to wait
so
till this like 8 months?
6 months, but by the time like we
Oh,
had called, I called like right after he was born, basically, or no, I
yeah.
think even before he was born. When we knew that, okay, this is how it's going to have to go down, let's schedule an appointment. And they were like, oh, no, 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 like you should wait till he's like 4 months and then call us. So we did. And then they were like, yeah, we can get him in, earliest is this date. And it was 8 months. So
Oh, I was going to say because he was so small, you actually might have been good if you would have went a little bit
yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, right.
You would have
Well,
been able to do it.
6 months is the earliest they let you at
Gotcha.
that point.
Okay.
Yeah. So unless you're Jewish, and then you have a rabbi come out and do it, but we're not, and we didn't. So
That'll happen.
um yeah. So anyway, so yeah, he's getting circumcised tomorrow, and he'll be under, and he won't know what's going on.
Well, I'll say
He'll just notice more of a draft when we do diaper changes.
I think he probably will have some sort of sensation at some point in time when he wakes up. Like, yes, he's going under, but he is going to wake up with
Oh,
stitched
well, there's
penis.
gonna be
So,
pain. Yeah,
yeah,
obviously.
exactly. That's my
But
point.
see, this is the digression, man. But there is, when I was on the phone with her and she was like, yeah, 10 pounds. And she's like, yeah. And then even, when they get to what'd she say, like 5, 8, 12 years old, like that sort of thing, then we have to do even more than just the general anesthesia and add more to it and everything. And I'm like, wait. There are kids 12 years old getting circumcised. Like at that point, why not just leave them uncircumcised? Like, unless
Yeah.
it's a medical reason, I guess. But
Well, if you become Jewish, you'd have to get circumcised.
if you're uncircumcised, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like 90% of Western civilization is
You
circumcised
might
at
be one
birth
of those
anyway. You know
very
what I mean?
rare
So it's true.
people.
It's true.
So,
I mean,
like your son.
we talked, just for convenience sake, we talked about, well, I don't think I really talked about it, but Caitlin was like, do we even really have to get him circumcised? And I'm
But
like, yeah, he's
yeah,
getting
we're
yeah,
going to do that.
yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I know some people who are uncircumcised, but you just have to do a lot more cleaning. It becomes a lot more
Interesting.
care for
Yeah.
yourself.
Maybe I know people who are uncircumcised. I don't generally get a chance to look at other people's penises a lot, but that's good. I mean, that's good in your life, I guess. It works.
I mean, it came out in conversation because we were doing the Bible study where we were talking about like how Abraham was just going around cutting people's foreskin off,
man, yeah.
like crazy, and that dude was like, "Man, I could not imagine me being this age and then having to get circumcised." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I'm uncircumcised." And I was like, "Whoa." I was like, I didn't know that. And then he's like, well,
forever
how would you?
Unclean.
So he's like, he literally was like, he's like, if that happened to me, I'd be like, no, I'm out. Like, I don't want to be an Israelite. Like,
No,
I'm
that's
good
cool.
with it. That's what I'm thinking.
No,
Your son's
thanks.
going to be thinking when he's like, what's happening here? And be like, you literally let me walk into this place and I came back out and my penis is cut half off.
It's only 8 months.
He's going to have the memory of it.
He's not going to have the memory of it.
No, he'll have what I told a client today. Well, babies don't have like the way our memories work of like,
because they don't have like a language,
image, language process, but they have feelings based memories.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can have like if you like are abandoned like in a crib, which obviously is horrible digression into very sad places, but the baby can have like a feeling part. So he's gonna have a traumatic feeling memory at 8 months that he's just going to be like, something horrible happened to me.
But he's not. Why? He's not going to have that feeling. He's just going to wake up, and he'll be in pain at some point. But
for sure, he's going to be in.
But it's just pain. The memory of pain. He also, poor thing, at 6 days old, had to have a freaking spinal tap and IV, and was wide awake during all that.
Yeah, see, this is the part. Anything.
They literally crunched him up into a ball. They like rolled him over his legs and then like shoved a needle into his spine. Yeah. It's 6 days old. It was horrifying.
So pretty much his beginning of his childhood was just horrible with you guys. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So I think a little circumcision while he's completely put under, I think will be fine.
All right.
He'll be better for it in the long run.
He will. Down the road, he'll be like, thank goodness my dad got me circumcised at 8 months. And then you'll have a warm embrace from that.
There you go.
All right. So severe digression. We're going to pull it back here. Thank you to everyone who's stuck with us.
And we promise that we'll probably talk about, just like I tell Alice, we'll probably talk about more important things in the future.
Exactly. I hope so. Good Lord. Yeah. If this is all we have to give the people, I think we will have pretty much us just listening to ourselves talk.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the point of this was, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. It'll be fun either way. All right. Well,
episode 1 in the bag.
Episode 1. Done and done.
Yep.
All right.
Nothing but sunshine and rainbows from here, folks.
That's right. So, goodbye, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
Sure. Maybe.